All right, everybody, thank you for watching and welcome back again. My name is Dan Hendricks. Check out my website here, danceofthecosmos.com. And so now we're going to continue our series of understanding the planets through exploring the nature of their nakshatras. And now we're going to talk about the planet Venus and look at Venus's nakshatras. So let's go ahead and pull this graphic up right here. All right, so what we're going to see here is Venus rules Bharani, Purva Phalguni, and Purvashada. These are the three nakshatras that are associated with Venus right here. So let's get right into it. Let's look into Bharani. What is Bharani going to tell us about Venus? Well, Bharani's deity is Yama. It says here Yama, death, or Yama is the god of death, which that is the case. But the important thing to know is Yama, one of his main role is to decide where it is that we go, which realm it is that we're going to head to, you know, whether that's, for lack of better terms here, hell or heaven. For lack of better terms, okay? Like it's like, what direction are you going to go? And it's like, because Yama, I believe, is also known as Yama Dharma or Dharma Raj, one of those, a name like that. But basically what it means is that it's judging and telling us where we're going to go based upon like our actions and how we acted in accordance or not with Dharma. And that's going to tell us where we're going to be sent to. Yama, I believe, also guides us into our next birth as well. So now, and then also what Bharani literally means is Bharani is the bearers. You see how this is tied in here. Yama's kind of guiding us into what place after we're leaving this physical realm and to where we're going to go. Bharani means bearers, like it's bearing us along the path. So now the Shakti of Bharani is to take things away. So Bharani's Shakti power, it's going to create, kind of a funny thing, right? It's going to create by taking things away. But the result of this creation is moving on to the next world. So Bharani's like, so if we're involved in a situation, the way Bharani is going to create something is it's going to be like, okay, I'm in this situation, but I'm going to take the energy away from the situation to move on to something new, to move on to the next situation. And then we'll see here, the basis above is the removal of life from the body, and the basis below is carrying the soul to the ancestral realm. So right here, so this removal of life from the body, taking, just like the Shakti power, it's taking things away. It's taking the life out of the body. So it's removing the life force, the prana, however you want to look at that, the individualized consciousness, the soul. It's guiding it. It's taking it from the body. And then it says here, it's carrying the soul to the ancestral realm. So I think the thing that's important to look at this, because this, and real quick, I want to talk about this. Actually, hold on. I want to make one more point, and then we'll get into the nature being fierce. So it says here, Yama's death. Yes. And I think it's very important to understand what this energy is. This isn't necessarily the energy of dying, because I believe it's Mag Nakshatra that we looked at in the video of Ketu's nakshatras, which Magga was about removal of life from the body also, to some extent. Let's look real quick. Ketu, yeah, so Magga was leave the body, and the Shakti result was death. The Shakti result was death. It was something's going to have to be let go of in here. Now, when we're looking at Venus, when we're looking at Bharani here, what's very important to pay attention to is that it's bearers. It's about it's the energy of taking it away. It's taking the life force out, but it's not about death. It's about guidance. Bharani is very much a nakshatra of guidance, of guiding something from one thing into another. And because you'll see here, if you look at these two energies, like the Shakti power is to take things away, and the Shakti result is to move on to the next world. So it's like it's letting go and moving on to something else. And Yama, with this idea of death, it's like I'm leaving this behind, but I'm not just leaving this behind, we're going somewhere else with the energy. We're going somewhere greater. So we're removing the life from the body. Again, same thing as taking things away, and we're moving on to the next world or carrying the soul to the ancestral realm. Is it's like we're going to this, we're taking it to like a better, higher level. Now, so that's something we can learn about Venus right there. And then we'll see that the nature of this nakshatra is fierce. Now, what's interesting about Venus is all of nakshatras of Venus, Purva Phalguni, Bharani, Purvashada, all three of these nakshatras are fierce in nature. So I thought it was important to define fierce. So I went and I looked up the word Ugra, because Ugra, which you see right here, Ugra, that's the actual Sanskrit word, or the transliteration anyway of the Sanskrit word. And so what does Ugra mean? Well, what we see here, it's powerful, it's violent, mighty, impetuous, strong, huge, formidable, terrible. We'll see that there's a nice definition here of Ugra, high and noble. I don't think that's really what we're talking about here. But then we'll see cruel, fierce, ferocious, savage, angry, passionate, wrathful, hot, sharp, pungent. Anyways, you get the idea. So this means fierce, that this is a nakshatra that its energy is not one of just soft and it's just nice and light. It's just intense. All of Venus's nakshatras are very intense. And that sounds quite different than our definition of what Venus is. So hold that in your mind. Let's hold that in our mind space, and let's continue exploring these nakshatras. I just wanted to bring that up because that's why I said I love these nakshatras of Venus, because it's like that just seems like counter to everything I've learned about Venus. I thought Venus was a gentle, graceful planet. It's not saying it's not. It's just we're going to further redefine our understanding of Venus. So now let's get over here to Purva Phalguni. Now, Purva Phalguni is translated as previous red one. Honestly, I don't know what to do with that definition, and I haven't really found a source that has given me, maybe I just haven't looked enough. I haven't found a source that gives me a good idea of what Purva Phalguni is. I mean, what we do know about what are called the Purva nakshatras, you'll see here's Purvashada, Purva Phalguni, is that these are, because there's also the next nakshatra, when we go to the sun, you'll see is Uttra Phalguni, Uttra Ashad. So there's a set. So whenever you see Purva, there's an Uttra. So there's a Purva Phalguni and Uttra Phalguni, a Purvashada and Uttra Ashada. And then there's another set of Purva and Uttra nakshatras that are not ruled by Venus and Sun, so we're not going to mention them here. But anyway, so with the Purva, it's like establishing and becoming, and the Uttra is like established. That's kind of like what the difference is. So what we'll see here is that this is about friendship, about coming together, about creating something. Because what we see here is we have Aryaman, Sun is friend and beloved. Now this is a very hard deity to get any information about. So what I did is I researched some online, because I mean here it says Sun is friend, beloved, and here's the best I could find. This is actually this webpage here, vedicgoddess.weebly.com. I just looked up Aryaman deity, and I found this article. Wonderful article. And so what it says here is Aryaman means bosom friend. It means noble-minded, aristocratic. It refers to the sun. It means the bright sunlight behind God. Now, it also says Aryaman symbolizes the sun's dharma and his dutiful nature in controlling time, and also of impartiality. Now, if you find this article, it's a wonderful article. It goes on to talk about Varuna, and how Varuna, Mitra, and Aryaman are all three related. It talks about the Adityas, which are like the Aditys, or I'm sorry, Aditya, yeah, where these are all like the similar bunch of like sun deities, basically. So anyhow, so let's go back. So anyway, so Aryamana is sun as friend and beloved, because remember it said about like upholding like the sun's dharma and everything. But we'll see here when we look at the Shakti power of procreation. Procreation. What does that mean? Positive, creating, making something happen, creating something new, giving birth to something new. And then we see the Shakti result is the creation of the fetus. So it's about coming together to make something. And when we say come together, when we look here, the basis above is wife or female partner, and the basis below is husband/male partner. So it's like it's taking together, the two things are working together as one to create something new. Now, isn't that fascinating? Isn't that absolutely fascinating? Because we see that Bharani is taking away and moving to the next level. And then we see that the next set of nakshatras, and this one is ruled by Venus, is about taking two things and creating one now. So it's like this one is related to death, this one is related to birth. Very interesting. And both of them are fierce nakshatras. That means that the energy they have is very intense, and just getting at it. Like all Venus is, because what do we know about Venus? Venus rules like our desires, what we want to do, our passions, and the things that we're trying to achieve in life. And you can see that this is the subtle energy behind Venus. All the wonderful things that Venus rules, like diplomacy and grace and everything, Venus also has this charged energy to want to do things, and we'll get more and more into this later. It's hard for me not to, because I'm so excited to talk about this. Now, what we're also going to see is the next nakshatra Venus rules is Purvashada. Purvashada means previous invincible. This is a nakshatra that is very much related to feeling literally invincible, like a very, very strong and energized nakshatra. But here's what's fascinating about this nakshatra is the deity is Apas, which is the goddess of water. And we can look at this in the sense of all forms of water, right? But mostly what we're going to look at in this is we're going to think of like the energy that water has behind it. Because like a river, like a flowing river, or like the power of the ocean and its waves. And we can also look at it beyond just physical water as well. Of course, we can look at it as the water element, which is the liquidity and being able to move and change and adapt. And water element is also very much related with with divinity and with bliss, which is basically the state of oneness as well. So we can see that this is a very powerful, and everything that Apos, the deity of water, is all about is that. Encompasses all this, from the physical forms of water all the way until the ethereal and the realms of bliss. But anyway, so now let's get into the Shakti power. Now remember we talked about invincible? The reason why I say like the flow and the force and the power of water, waves crashing, the oceans, tides, and things of that nature is because if you look at this, the Shakti power is invigorating. And what does water do? Water charges us up. Water is what we use to renew ourselves. Like if we drink thirst, we get quenched. And what do we get? We get invigorated. And then you'll see the result of this invigoration from the water, from this strain, it's just powerful, is the gain of luster. So it's like we're getting invigorated by the flow of things, and that is giving us because what do we know with luster? That's about health. Luster is everything about health and feeling better. Because if you have good luster to your face, that means that you're full of prana, and your body is just, in a health-wise, you're doing wonderfully. So it's like invigorating, and I'm ready to go, and it's satisfying me, it's quenching me. And then we'll see here, the basis above is strength, and the basis below is connection. So it's about, because that's one of the things about water. Water is like the thing that adheres. Also, water has something to do with adhering things and bringing things together. For example, in fact, it's really funny. I was just reading something about this where it's like when we will make deals, this is like, depending on who you talk to, there's people who will right? They'll cut their hand so that the blood is flowing, and they'll do a blood bond. When we're trying to make bonds, we use the water element, which, you know, blood is related to water. And also, some people will spit on their hand and shake your hand if they're making a deal, because it's like you're making a bond, agreeing on something to make it happen, because you're coming together and you're using the water element as that final ingredient to really show that. And so, and then if you look at the nature of the Pancha Mahabhutas, from the space element to the air element, those are the two most subtle. And then you get to fire. And then fire is the transformative force. And then after that is water. And water is where it finally starts to, is one of the grosser of the two elements and then there's finally earth. But water, the difference between water and the earth element is water is the fluidity. So it's about things actually cohering into a form. And so now we see here with the basis of connection. So it's got those two elements of connection, but it's also got force behind it, because we're also talking about a fierce nakshatra, strength. So my moon is in Purvashada. So what do I learned something new, and I'm just invigorated. It makes me, I get so engrossed. I'm so makes me so happy. I feel connected with this knowledge. And what do I want to do? I want to get on YouTube and share it. So, so this is another our third nakshatra of Venus. So isn't that interesting? Venus has a nakshatra that's related about death and taking us away from things, about creating new things, and then one about going forward and finding invigoration and luster. So what's interesting, what we know about Venus is related to our decision-making process in life. It's related to our choices and what we're going to choose, because Venus's Mula Trikona is in the Rashi of Libra, which is the scales. And so for Venus to help us find fulfillment in life, that's what Venus is after, is helping us find fulfillment with the things that we have in the world. Well, Venus is going to take us away from that, help us create something new, and it's something that we're like we feel strongly about, that we're just interested in, because Venus is also about rejuvenation as well. And then also going into the mythology of Shukra, which is the Sanskrit name for Venus, is Shukra. Well, Shukra is also known as the guru of the Asuras. The Asuras are like the demonic forces, because there was the Devas and the Asuras. And the thing about Shukra is Shukra had the power of bringing dead people back to life. And so, or dead deities. Anyway, so he had the power of, I don't know if that's rejuvenation or resuscitation. I can't think of the exact word right now off the top of my head. But anyway, so here it is right here. So you're talking about death and you're talking about birth. You're talking about Shukra as the deity of or the guru of the Asuras. Here he is right here. Here's that idea of being able to take something dead and bring it back to life, right? So it's very interesting. Now we're seeing how Venus works. And again, remember, the nakshatras are energy working at a very subtle level. I talk about it in the overview video. If you haven't watched the overview of this little exploration, I suggest you watch that video. But anyhow, so what are we learning from these nakshatras? Let's go ahead and summarize. We're seeing that Venus helps take us away from things, create new things, and gives us the energy to be invigorated by that which we experience. So we can take that into understanding that Venus is also a diplomatic planet and making a fair share for everybody, making everything equal. And it can make everything equal because it can realize, wow, I need to basically take myself away from this situation to create this new situation that I'm very charged about. So very interesting, very, very interesting. You would not expect Venus to have all three of his nakshatras with the nature of fierce. I would expect Venus, from everything I've learned about Venus being, one of the great gentle planets, that Venus would be like a soft, gentle, or a friendly nakshatra, but it's fierce. These are all intense energies. So the subtle energy of Venus is very fierce and very aggressive and passionate about what it's going to do. And we can think about that. The time of taking life out of the body, that's very intense, that requires a lot of energy to do that. And the same thing, it takes a lot of energy to create something new. So anyhow, I'll let you guys think about this. If you have more to add, please add it in the comment section below. And I enjoy to hear your feedback and hear what you have to say. And thank you for watching. And namaste.